Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Plenty of talk over the last few days about various scrim bugs going around, but especially potential trials that went down during the off-season period that have now, of course, come to an end. We saw that Gen.G Sinatra was potentially going to be a thing. We talked about that yesterday. Sinatra said he played very well as far as he's concerned, but it wasn't maybe enough given the circumstances behind the scenes to secure the spot on Gen.G. Evil Genius's BabyJ also implies the same thing, that he was playing very well, potentially could still be an asset to a VCT team, but it's not going to be EG as we understand. But also BabyJ coming to blows somewhat with FNS for maybe leaking some compositions that Gen.G have been cooking up behind the scenes, especially what Crashies might be up to on certain map combinations. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Firstly, just wanted to kind of note this funny set of tweets really between Boaster and Zeltis on the relationship between pANcada and Zeltis right now. I'm sure they get along reasonably well, and you know, they've been bantering a bit on Twitter over the last few days. And I don't think that pANcada will be too dissatisfied with sitting on Sentinel's bench, getting paid a salary, and not really having to do all that much. But it's not going to last forever. He obviously will want to return to competitive play, whether he sees a possibility that, you know, Zeltis gets removed or benched, or that, you know, maybe Sentinels make another change and pANcada can find a slot back into the team. But it just feels relatively unlikely right now. So maybe pANcada is just kind of biding his time in the same way that FNS and SOM are biding their time to kind of wait around and say, okay, well, some teams are going to struggle. There's a very realistic possibility that, you know, one of Lev, Sentinels, Gen.G, as FNS said, flops pretty hard, and, you know, even Loud could have a hard time. And if pANcada was to be needed by Lev or by Loud or by some team like that, then him getting signed there mid-season would be a realistic possibility if Sentinels is doing well and doesn't maybe require his services anymore on the bench. There was also this tweet, right? We've seen lots of discussion over the last few days about the setup for this season's schedule, the amount of games that are being played by the various teams, and, well, the reality is that there's very few games being played by the teams that aren't particularly good. And maybe this is Leo's perspective that, look, you want to play 10 matches a year, okay, just be bad. If you want to play more than that, let's play more, right? I mean, if you actually win things, you'll probably play upwards of like 30 matches in about a 6-month period, which I still don't think is that many. I mean, if you look at some of the teams in Counter-Strike, they've played something like, you know, 60 matches in the last couple of months, really, compared to, you know, the Valorant guys playing a lot. So, yeah, as I said the other day, I'm not sure I really buy this old burnout idea for various reasons, but I explained my thoughts on that the other day, and maybe Leo is right that, okay, sure, complain about the amount of matches for the teams, and some of the players, they're complaining as well, right? You might argue that the players shouldn't be complaining because they get paid the same to make, you know, to play less matches, which I guess would be good on paper, but the reality is they don't want that. They want to play more, and Leo says, look, if you want to play more, just play, you know, win more games, then you get to play at the major tournaments, and therefore you actually get to play more series. But should, for the fans' perspective, there be more series anyway? Yes, because these teams that don't end up qualifying for the internationals, and let's be honest, there's not that many teams that qualify. 8 teams to Masters Madrid, 12 teams only out of 44 in the world go to Masters Shanghai, and you know, then it's obviously 16 for the World Championship, as there's no LCQ this year either to even make that happen. So definitely still think there's points to be had on both sides of this discussion, and it's only 5 days, 26 days until the VCT is officially back now. When I called it the kickoff at the start of the video, it is a kickoff, but it's more just like a playoffs really, to start the season off with a bang and determine which teams qualify for Masters Madrid. This is one of the reasons why I love the LCQ, is that these type of tournaments that are coming up this kickoff thing, and it happens all the time in challenges, when you've got the grand finalists both make it to the tournament, right? Just the way that the seeding can potentially work. That the most important match really in the entire tournament is the losers like semi-finals or the losers finals to determine which team is going to make it to the grand finals, because quite often what will happen here in this tournament, 11 teams down to just 2, but both teams that make the finals, sure, it's nice to win your regional kickoff, but the reality is that grand finals doesn't really matter that much because both teams qualify to Madrid anyway. The important series really are the matches that are played just before that, the winners finals and the losers finals, that determine the 2 grand finalists that become the number 2 seeds that qualify for Masters Madrid. The finals itself, like, okay, it's nice to win, but nobody, you know, it should always be the case that the very final matchup of the tournament is the most important matchup, and that's quite often not the case with the format that is currently done, when the top 2 or top 3 teams will qualify from the tournament, which is the reason why I loved the LCQ, because you know full well that, you know, only one of these teams makes it, and therefore it's all or nothing right down to the wire for the final match. But the LCQ's gone, unfortunately. This is just some predictions as well from Solgi on what he's expecting from the VCT China kickoff. Edward, of course, the favourites. He's got Gen.G coming in 2nd place here, with, for example, Dragon Ranger here in 7th. The team that won won the Ascension tournament to qualify in. Could have been Rare Atom, didn't happen. Billy has got in 5th place. Trace, FPX, so you know, some names you'll be familiar with. But interesting, right? That tends to be the case. The team that wins Ascension is considered to be, you know, middle-ish pack in the actual VCT. And I think that should be the case with G2 as well for the upcoming season. There was this from Som as well, really hoping that Haven could come back into the map pool. We know, definitely as it stands, the map pool maybe isn't optimal. We've seen lots of frustrations on the changes to Breeze and the other maps over the last few days. Haven being gone was controversial, remains that way. And given the amount of changes that have been made to the other maps that have come back into the pool, i.e. not many at all, I wonder what they'll do to Haven when that eventually returns in a few months' time. But I definitely wanted to share a couple of clips here from FNS's stream. They were talking a lot over the last few days on various things, as is always the case. But he was with BabyJ, discussing his past and potential future as well, but also the situation on NRG as it presently stands. So we know that there were big rumours, of course, that BabyJ was going to be joining Evil Geniuses or trialling briefly with Evil Geniuses as a possibility for their roster. That, of course, never happened. They still haven't confirmed their team fully, but we're pretty sure it's going to be Jorgamo to stay, Derek, Superman, Apoth, and Nature rounding out the rest of that team. So no BabyJ there, but in the same way that Sinatra basically said that he trialled for NRG and he thinks did very well, BabyJ says the same thing here. Now, of course, you are going to say you did very well publicly because, you know, that makes you a hotter prospect, right? You're not going to say, oh yeah, we played trials and I got slammed and they decided not to sign me. It's like, no, I played trials, I slammed the other team, and for whatever reason, they still decided not to sign me, right? So obviously, you know, it's going to go one way rather than the other, but the point still stands. He basically does eventually get the point across that he did trial for EG, and or at least one team that he doesn't want to go into detail of. For whatever reason, not exactly sure why. Maybe just because he thinks that if he fully leaks it and says it publicly, then it will sour the relationship a little bit more. And, you know, maybe it's not sour right now, but, you know, in theory, maybe EG wouldn't be so happy with him doing so, and therefore a future offer might be less likely. That's probably why he's somewhat kind of, you know, nervous about exactly saying it publicly. But also he reveals in a ranked game what the guys on NRG were getting up to. And, well, we see some interesting composition ideas.
Down NRG. Are you like in a ranked game?
I took down the whole roster, bro.
In a ranked game?
Yeah. Dude, Austin's a little nerd on Gecko. He's just leaking in ranked. Like,
Austin's playing Gecko too. I can't wait to see their comps.
oh, he for sure is playing it on the match. If you saw the
What map? Wait, what map? What map?
bind, bro, bind.
Oh, Gecko bind?
Dog,
Holy.
he wingman from Octagon, and at the end of the wingman, Octagon to Cubby on B. At the end of it, it stuns you, and he has a set molly for it.
Yeah.
It's actually cringe.
Yeah, this guy plays that. This guy's gonna be playing that in the
Guys.
match. Let me see. View career. Let me look him down. Oh, here it is. Oh, wow. Wait, they're trioed?
I took him down.
Wow, Hunter.
I wasn't even nervous. Just know I learned a lot during my little tryouts from winners. You know what I'm saying? I know how the game's played now, and I'm feeling dangerous.
Okay, so can you
when I
just
get
say
back
who
in.
you're trying out for? Like who you tried out for? Why can't you just say it? Who cares?
Because I might burn bridges. I don't know.
How? How's that burning a bridge if you say who you
What
tried
do I
out
gain
for?
from telling anyone?
I guess nothing besides honesty to your viewers.
I'm always honest.
Clearly not.
A little too honest, some would say.
I mean,
I'm only talking about what am I trying for NRG? Like,
no, obviously
Try-
not.
what-
But then like
Alright,
confirm
so,
that you
like-
tried out for like X team, and then it's just out there, you know. Now everyone knows. Like Sinatra, for example, said he tried for Energy,
no, he did not.
didn't he?
No.
What did he say?
Insinuated.
Okay, so
people guessed
same
that.
thing. So what's your insinuation?
So I copy what Sinatra's doing because why would I be the one to say it?
No, I mean, it's whatever, bro. The guys just want to know, man. Like, it's like why
they'll
why
know
keep a
when I'm
secret that
signed,
doesn't need to
bro.
be kept?
Because it ain't happening. So what's the point?
That's even better though. It's just like I trialed for this team and it didn't work out. That's it.
No, trust me, it was working out, and I was farming. It not working out was not a thing.
So what happened? Oh, you can't say.
Let's just say timing. Say timing of players going elsewhere, contract expiring.
You're insinuating EG, huh?
Me insinuating EG, I would never.
Ah, got it.
This was pretty interesting that was spotted here that BabyJ talked about, and here's the screenshot, right, with Marved on the smokes as expected on the Viper. We've got Crashies, though, on the Gecko, and this is on Bind, supposedly, which is very interesting just to see how this meta is going to develop. We know that NRG and Chet have been known, and FNS, of course, has been known as well for cooking up some interesting strategic possibilities when playing on these rosters, and compositions are, of course, a massively important thing. We also know full well that Ethan last year on Evil Geniuses, they they had arguably, you know, some of the best and most interesting ideas really in the world, the fact that we had Demon 1 on the Brimstone sometimes was like, well, what is exactly going on here? And teams will, given the recent changes, have some interesting ideas for the start of the new season. Gecko might well be one of them. I'm sure teams will be thinking about it and giving it a go. And even Zeltis just the other day was using the Gecko as well here on the binds. So it definitely feels like to many players possibly that Gecko bind is a viable option at the moment to actually make a reasonable composition work. And we now have rumours that that's what NRG are trying. So I wouldn't be surprised at all really, given the history of NRG, the players they have on their roster, that they could be looking for a move exactly like this. But also, what do you guys think about the potential future of BabyJ? We've seen this, you know, from Jorgo right the other day when EG are playing a match. Well, it's to be determined who they play because it's the winner of the 10th or the 11th seeds. We still don't know who they actually are and how the seeding is being determined. We'll see that in due course. But EG, probably the number 1 seed, and it's only Jorgo that's there right now, and BabyJ did actually tweet this out at the time. So he hasn't really made too much of a secret of the possibility of him going to that team, and maybe based on what he said, he might get an opportunity, right? But what do you guys think about potentially playing in the Challengers qualifiers? Sinatra and the guys, you know, with Prod and that, they basically just did it for fun last year with Zoms and all this, and it was, you know, it was a good time, I'm sure, and it was fun to watch. It was basically exactly this time last year. This year, though, the Challengers Open qualifiers are slightly later on, so they still have time to get involved if they wish to, and, you know, maybe there's no harm in doing so. It's good content, and if they were to somehow qualify for Challengers, they, you know, I guess they might play or they might not want to play. I don't know. Is it better for those type of players like BabyJ? Is it better for him to try and either go to Challengers or, you know, grind through the Open qualifiers to qualify through, prove your worth to some degree? Because otherwise it's difficult to imagine these guys, unless you're Sinatra, who's got such name and kind of talent value, that maybe it doesn't so much matter. But for BabyJ, I'm not sure that he's going to necessarily get another VCT chance unless he really grinds it through in Challengers. So that might be a question that needs to be answered over the next couple of days. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.